It's a very special interview segment because we are going to have an interview segment with our Baybeats mentor. Now, the first mentor that we're going to have, there are altogether three of them. The first one, he has been drumming since his teenage years, and he discovered an even wilder passion for guitars and recording. Now, alongside with his brother and two cousins, they formed B Quartet in 2000. Since then, our mentor here has performed and recorded with many musicians, including Eddie Cradle, Shen Phelan, Pixie Lott, Inch Chua, and Mera. Now, our second mentor, he's been a music producer and recording engineer by profession. He's been in the business for 15 years, produced over 400 albums and EPs, including those by chart-topping bands Electrico, Ronin, The Great Spy Experiment, B Quartet, and Inch Chua. Our third mentor, he is a recognized name since 1993. Now, he carved out a reputation as an accomplished and inventive guitarist in the acclaimed bands Electrico. Now, he was a judge in 2009 as well as in 2010. So, ladies and gentlemen, without further ado, please help me welcome our three mentors right here, Bunny Hide, Leonard Suse, and Daniel Sassoon. Hi, welcome guys. Okay, come. Take a seat, make yourselves comfortable. Okay, so this is going to be like a little talk show that we have where I am Ellen. But of course, I don't come dancing in like Ellen DeGeneres. Okay, so I think we all want to know a bit more about you guys. Would you kindly introduce us to us a little bit more about yourself? Probably we can start with Leonard.
Hi, my name is Leonard. I work as a music producer. I've been doing this for the past 17 years. I've attended every Baybeats festival since inception, all 3 days every year. And by far, I think this is the most interesting Baybeats.
Nice, that's dedication right there. Since 17 years, is that right?
17 years I've been doing
this, but since the first time that Baybeats started out, you've been here every single year.
Yeah.
Wow, amazing. What about Daniel, yourself?
Hey, I'm Daniel. I play in the band Nichana Cutlass. I've been playing music since I was a kid, and I have been at all of the Baybeats, and I think I've been playing at either 6 or 7 of them.
Wow.
With 3 different brands, Livonia, Electrico, and Nichana Cutlass. So I'm very privileged, and this one in particular has been pretty good fun. It's been awesome.
Nice. Okay, Bunny, what about yourself? A little bit more about yourself.
Hello, I'm Bunny. I'm very bad at public speaking. I'm a musician. That's it.
Can we give a round of applause to our three mentors here? You know, you guys are mentors for this year's Baybeats auditions, right? And of course, it is a very, you know, it's the responsibility, I'm sure, is very heavy because you need to pick the best out of the best to perform for Baybeats 2014. Can you tell us a bit more about this program, you know, the process of it? How was it like, the whole experience since it started the first time, you know, they come in for the audition right up to the point where you guys chose your final bands to perform for Baybeats 2014? Any one of you?
Yes. Okay, I mean, I think this one, what made it a bit different from the previous ones that I was involved in was from the start, we were sent about like 60 of the demos and the applications, and we were asked to pare it down and select who we thought would be, you know, good to go for the first for the long list of applicants for the auditions. So I think having us involved at the outset was actually a really interesting, you know, chance for us to dig a little bit deeper into the bands, to hear them first, and to figure out, you know. And so the ones that we recommended and selected were all the bands that we thought could very well stand a chance of actually playing the fest, rather than us, you know, going there for the first time, being on the table, and then, okay, sitting through all the bands. So this time, that chance to listen is really, really helpful because it enabled us to prepare for what we were going to hear.
Yeah, we could also do research on the people who actually send in the demos, because we didn't want to select bands that had amazing sounding demos, but you know can't really play live. Because with technology nowadays, it's very easy to manipulate.
Anything can happen.
And for many years, we felt that was something that was lacking because you know, like we saw some bands, you know, we heard the recordings and they were really good, but when they were up on stage, whether it was stage fright or whether they were really unprepared, we don't know. But you know, somehow there was a huge difference between the recorded stuff and playing live. And this year also, I think one of the criteria that we set was actually to find not the best bands, but you know, the bands that we felt had a lot of potential. For the future. For the future, I was one of the first judges for the first Baybeats auditions.
The pioneering batch.
Yeah,
right?
the pioneering batch. And then from that batch, we actually discovered the Firefight, Caracal, Allura and Inch, and Giants Must Fall. So these were bands at that time we felt had a lot of potential. I mean, Firefight has, you know, they've disbanded now, but you know they reached like the pinnacle before. Caracal is still playing. They're an international touring band now. Inch, I mean, I don't have to say, you know, Inch is like a superstar here, and she's also based in America. And we have Giants Must Fall, who just played that day and blew everyone's minds. You know, so this program is actually very important to the scene, very important to Baybeats, and it actually does, you know, like generate. I mean, it does develop bands for the future.
Do you remember how many years was that the first Baybeats, the pioneering batch that you were in as a judge? Do you remember how many years ago?
Yeah, it was in 2007, so 7 years ago.
7 years ago. You know, for yourself, that was the first time at pioneering batch, and then this year you're back as a judge. And then for Daniel, you were judged in 2009 as well as in 2010, and then Bunny this year, right?
Yes.
But I'm pretty sure you would have seen many of the bands throughout these years as well. You know, in your capacity as a judge, do you see a difference in the bands from you know, the past up till today, this year? Do you see a difference in the band, the kind of quality that we are getting from the local scene?
For me, I think you know, it's become really diverse over the years. I mean, I think this year was, you know, we had some of the most diverse bunch of applicants. You know, from heavy to like really light sounding stuff. And it's really hard to select because, I mean, what criteria do you base it on? It's, you know, Baybeats itself such a pretty anything goes platform, as in like, as long as it's fits the mold, it's alternative music, it's something that, you know, deserves to be to you know, have an opportunity, anything goes, right? So that could cover the gamut of music. It's not like a certain different kinds of music festivals that are a little bit more specific about style. So sometimes there are a lot of difficult choices, and sometimes it's really about like, you know, with this, and this year there was a big focus on the mentorship aspect. So that was one of the conscious decisions that we made. We wanted to pick bands that would benefit from the mentorship process. So there were actually a couple bands that auditioned that were really good, and in fact they were at a level where they were already on their own trajectory. They already, you know, I mean, like Vils, for example, they were, you know, there's no doubt that they knew what they were doing, and there was not much that could benefit from a mentorship program. They could benefit from management, from, you know, having a producer, maybe that kind of stuff, you know, but that would be outside the scope of what we're able to offer. So we didn't select them, but we, you know, we asked Esplanade to, you know, consider inviting them as a performer, which happened, and I'm really happy for them. But I guess the focus on mentorship is something that we think we can offer, and we wanted that to be, you know, something that's on the plate for everyone.
What about you, Bunny? How was your experience like being a judge this year, you know, a mentor this year for Baybeats?
Well, I learned a lot from Daniel and Leonard. I really did.
No.
What do you mean no? Really, I did. Am I on the house? Yeah, I am. Okay.
Yes.
So yeah. I mean, it's really good to see a lot of bands turn up very early. And like 10 a.m., they're all out rock and roll. That's crazy. Because I can't do that.
Attention, right? Attention, the Newport's down.
Attention, the Newport's
10 a.m. in the morning, they were dressed up, ready to rock, and brought it on like, you know, they were performing at night for a full crowd. So that's something that was really awesome.
Yeah. I mean, that to me is very impressive because I work at night.
Yep.
And they have to do this like first thing in the morning.
In the morning, yeah.
Morning to me is like 4 p.m. Like right now. But
not 10 a.m., right?
No way. But yeah, I mean, definitely I learned a lot, like new terms, you know, I made new friends, you know, I know that Vils is badass, and yeah, lah, that's...
You know, I think Daniel and Leonard, you were mentioning about the quality and of course the potential of these bands. You know, as mentors, what do you look for in a budding band? The kind of qualities that you guys look for, like, you know, to say that, okay, you know, we want this band, we want to mentor this band. What are some of the qualities that you guys look for?
Okay, for me, when it came down to like selecting the bands, I chose the bands I thought had the best rapport.
Okay.
As in the members were more like they treated themselves as family rather than just
performing.
Yeah, than just performers.
Yeah, performers.
That's why I chose Orange Cove, Lost Weekend, and Stopgap. You know, and I attended a lot of the jamming sessions, except for Orange Cove, but I attended some of their shows. And you know, the first thing I look for is how they deal with problems, how they deal with music, and how they actually interact with one another. Because if you get a unit that works together very well, then you know you can actually groom or advise them even better. Because then you can point out like certain things, certain mistakes or certain faults, which they are willing to accept and change for the better. I was especially proud when I saw Stopgap play the other day and Lost Weekend, because you know, like I saw the progress, you know, from audition to actually being on stage and playing in front of a huge audience. And you know, like they look like as if they were really comfortable, like they were veterans, like they've been doing this for the past 10 years. So these are the kind of things that I look for.
I think it's been rewarding as well to see the bands when they blossom as such, right?
Yeah.
What about you, Daniel? What do you look for in a budding band?
I mean, I was just really lucky that the bands I got the opportunity to work with, that would be False Plaintiff, Spiras, and they're playing later on today. And I mean, the band that will be playing on later today, which is The Livid Sun. And you know, as Leonard said, you know, seeing the way that they interact and work with each other, and how they communicate. I think there's some things I go for, like, the feel that there's something special about the band. It doesn't have to be an overproduced recording. It doesn't have to be members that are super technical or something, but there's just something that communicates that there's something unique and special to say and offer to the world. And, you know, and I think all these bands do, you know, the ones that I've worked with definitely have that. And yeah, it's amazing. I mean, you know, when Spiras auditioned, they had 2 songs written. They only formed a few months ago, and a couple days ago they played an amazing skin-tight set, you know, as their debut here, and it was just completely blew my mind. And you know, watching False Plaintiff open for like La Dispute and play 100 bands, and then play, you know, Baybeats, and you know, seeing them grow, you know, the bands just develop, and from the level that they auditioned and to the standard that you've been seeing them in the last couple of days. May I?
Okay.
Yeah, the mic didn't like me. So I mean, it's not like we did a lot, but I think we managed to just help push them in the right direction. But it's also that these bands work so hard, they commit so much effort and put in so much hard work, and they genuinely want to take it up to, you know, and improve their game. And that's really, really inspiring and rewarding, because I'm a musician still, and sometimes it's, you know, I'm learning, because I'm like, wow, this is what it takes to have to really step up your game and not rest on your laurels, you know. So I think it's been a symbiotic process. I get something out of it as much as the bands do, and it's a lot of fun.
Learning from each other. You know, Bunny, you also play, right? You do have your own bands that you play. Do the bands remind you of yourself in your own growth process as a musician?
Yes, but they are much better.
Much better than you?
Yeah, really, really.
Can you give us some examples?
Like Vils. Like, Vils was really awesome. Like what Leonard said just now, when we were given all the demos to listen to, then we're like, wow, this band is really good. Can they really do it live? Then I was listening to Vils with my girlfriend in the car, and she was like, dude, this band is nuts. I was like, yeah, this band is nuts. I really hope that they're going to do it like live in person. And we were there, and I was like, I don't know what to tell them. Like, they're just great. Like, can we just invite them, you know? And then we all suggested to Esplanade to just invite them.
Just get them and invite them. What about you, Daniel? Do the bands remind you of yourself as a musician?
Yeah, but as Bunny said, I sucked back then, and no, I mean, okay, but no, seriously, you have no idea the quality of bands back, in 1993 versus in 2004. It's like a world of difference.
World of difference.
Yeah, I guess there are more resources. There's, the internets, the interwebs, there's YouTubes where you can learn how to play your instrument or find out what it is. But it also means, but I think what perhaps we could, maybe the older guys, what we can possibly offer is that hindsight of the real, having to do it yourself and having to, survive in a scene where you had nobody that was organizing shows for you. You did it yourself. You worked with people. You played with all sorts of different bands, and and you couldn't send out a blast of like, hey, we're playing this, at this show. It was photocopying flyers and word of mouth and stuff. And yet still there was little growth there, and it became slowly what it is today with the help of technology, but with and I like to think that I can take that old mindset and sort of like help apply it to this day and age, because you don't want to forget where you came from. You don't want to forget the fact that it's not just about technology, because it's just a tool. But if you don't have the core basics of how to win how to get your audience, how to preserve your audience, and how to nurture that base, technology is irrelevant, because all it means is that there's millions of bands using the same tools and will get further than you are if you don't have the basics at hand.
Yep, that's right. Okay, coming from the perspective of a judge and being performers yourself, and of course for Leonard as a music producer, do you have any words of wisdom to other aspiring musicians or budding artists who want to give Baybeats mentorship program a try in the future? Do you have any advice for them?
Yeah, I think the scene died on Thursday, and then it was reborn again on Friday with Baybeats. I think big changes are coming because NAC has started to be actively involved, giving out grants to a lot of young bands. I think there's going to be a huge change, because what we've been doing for the past, say, 10 years is going to change now, because, you look at all the young bands now, they're so good. They write really brilliant songs. They can play really well. They go for music lessons. So the future actually started on Friday and started with Baybeats, because I didn't know anything about the newer bands until this mentorship program, and I learned a lot from watching like how all the bands react, interact, and perform. And today's the last day for Baybeats, but today's a great day to actually go and check out all the bands that are playing, because they're all new, and this will be the future of Singapore music.
That's right. Thank you so much, Leonard, Daniel, Bunny. Can we give them a round of applause for sharing some insights with us? That's right. Do check out all the bands that will be performing. There are 3 venues altogether: the Chill Out Stage at the Upper Concourse, the Arena at the Outdoor Theatre, as well as Powerhouse, which is the main stage at the Edge. Thank you so much, guys, once again. To know more about them, to know more about the mentorship program that we have right here for Baybeats, you can always head over to our website at www.baybeats.com.sg. We will now go for a short break, but we will be back here with our last interview. And of course, for the last one at 5 o'clock, we have something really interesting coming up. So I'll see you guys back here at 5. Thank you.